This is the RAD Position with ASRT CEO and Executive Director Melissa Pergola. A podcast for medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals. Hi there, and welcome back to the RAD Position podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Pergola, ASRT CEO and Executive Director.
And I'm her co-host, Ray Arambula.
I'm so happy to have you, Ray.
Well, thank you.
I haven't said that yet. I'm so happy to have you as a partner.
You should be.
I am. And I'm so happy about this episode that is airing tonight. So we are talking to three unique individuals in our profession who have sort of alternative careers.
Yeah, interesting. Very unique pathways that I think we're going to learn more about, anywhere from sports to everyday patients to pets.
All right, we'll get started right after this message.
Plan to join us for the Varian Users Meeting on Saturday, September 27th at the San Francisco Marriott Marquis. The event will run from 1:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with a reception immediately following. This must-attend event will feature engaging topics and discussions. Further details and topics will be announced soon, so stay tuned.
Our first guest today is Karen Anderson, a seasoned leader in the field of medical imaging whose career spans clinical practice, education, health IT, and industry leadership. Karen began her journey as a radiologic technologist and mammographer, eventually earning her Bachelor's of Science in Radiologic Technology and her Master's in Healthcare Administration. Her career took root in clinical settings, but she quickly expanded into education, serving as a clinical instructor at the Parkland School of Radiologic Sciences in Texas. From there, she transitioned into healthcare analytics and IT roles with M.D. Byline and McKesson before returning to Parkland as both radiology IT manager and later as breast center manager. After more than 5 years leading the breast center, Karen shifted into the corporate side of healthcare, taking on leadership roles at Solus, GE Healthcare, and now Siemens Healthineers. She currently serves as a scientific marketing manager and key opinion leader manager for the North American women's health business. We're excited to have Karen. Her career reflects not only the wide range of opportunities available to radiologic technologists, but also the value of blending clinical expertise with leadership, strategy, and innovation. I'm really happy to welcome her to the show today to talk about alternative career paths in medical imaging and how technologists can grow beyond the traditional clinical track. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much. And I'm excited to be here to share some transferable skills and some fulfilling opportunities outside of the hospital setting.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that and all of the skills and the interesting opportunities. But I want to go back maybe to the beginning. So you've had an amazing, rich, and evolving career, but can you tell us what drew you to radiography and mammography at the very start?
My professional career began in Conway, Arkansas, where I attended the University of Central Arkansas. And I did my clinicals at the St. Edward's Mercy Medical Center in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And it was there that my radiologic technology and medical director kind of encouraged me to pursue some opportunities at a really large hospital in Dallas, Parkland Hospital. And it was at Parkland where I really began to understand and really mold myself into becoming the best radiographer that I could be.
Nice.
I always wanted to help people, and I knew I couldn't be a nurse because I was terrified of sticking people and being stuck. So I knew that wasn't my career path, but radiology always was very interesting to me because there were so many different things that you could do in the field of radiology.
Yeah. So you didn't have venipuncture in your radiography training?
We did, but I never
Yes.
liked it. Unfortunately, it was not my forte.
I started to say because it's funny, a lot of times people get into imaging because they say they don't wanna be a nurse because they don't like blood, they don't like throw up, they don't wanna do venipuncture, but then they get into our field, and if they're a radiographer, right, they're doing upper GIs and barium enemas and cleaning up after people and starting IVs, so, yeah, but that was definitely not your favorite.
Not my favorite, and you're taking me back some years because I remember all of those things.
Well, what led you then to was it that desire to help in patient care, but not necessarily like venipuncture that took you to mammography?
I wanted to have more of a relationship with my patients. And
Mm.
so when I looked into mammography, that was it.
Yes.
Because you see those patients over and over again. You start with their screening procedures, then they have to come back if we find something in diagnostic. So that was so interesting to me that I could actually see those patients, follow those patients, and really be engaged delivering my skill set and really, really working one-on-one with those women.
Karen, you've worn so many hats: clinical instructor, radiology IT manager, breast center leader. What have been some maybe pivotal moments where you knew it was time to make a change or explore a new direction?
I believe when I feel like I have mastered a certain area,
Mm.
meaning I've learned everything that I could and really, really made a contribution in that area, I tend to find myself wanting to do more. And
Yeah.
so I tend to look for other avenues. And that has really, really opened a lot of doors just by, looking at different options outside of the clinical space. You'd be amazed at all of the different transitional jobs that you can, put yourself into.
Yeah, so sort of continuing on that theme of beyond the clinical floor, what kinds of career paths do you think are most exciting and maybe even underappreciated in a way?
So let's talk about options for mammographers specifically. So
Yes.
with mammography, there are just outside of just doing your day to day, which is very, very rewarding if you
Mm.
like that communication in that time one on one with those women and men, because you do image men in mammography. But if
Yes.
you really, really enjoy that field, there are so many other options that I don't think a lot of people realize that
Mm.
are available. There, let's talk about advocacy for breast cancer awareness. So you have different advocacy groups. You have the Susan G. Coleman's. You have the Breast Cancer National Breast Cancer Foundation. Those are advocacy groups that they look for patient navigators
Mm.
to actually walk with women and help them understand their diagnosis, what happens next in that after that diagnosis, and really, really taking those patients by the hand and leading them through that process. So that's a great option for women that are interested in doing that are in mammography and want to expand outside of that.
Yeah.
There's also educational things that you can do, such as with the ACR, American College of Radiology,
Yes.
with those accreditation bodies, the government agencies, FDA,
Mm.
MQSA inspectors. That's huge in
Yeah.
mammography, you know? So there
Yes.
are there are so many different avenues just specifically for mammographers. Even the big thing right now is AI um,
Yes.
in the field. And there's opportunities with AI companies that help that where mammographers could help um, extend their expertise in those areas. You
Mm.
have Deep Health, you have RadNet, just to name a few. So there are so many different avenues just waiting to be explored. So I urge all my
Yeah.
mammographers that are listening to be inquisitive. Go to LinkedIn, go Google these type of opportunities, and you'll
Yeah.
find that doors will open for you.
What would you say when someone tells you they're feeling stuck or unsure about their next step? What's the first thing that you usually ask or recommend?
So the first thing I typically recommend is say, why? Why do you
Mm,
feel stuck? What is occurring right now with you and your career to make you feel that way?
Mm,
Are you, are there physical challenges with the job that are, having you feel this way? So you really want to understand why they're feeling that way. And then what my next question is, what is it that you think you want to do? And
mhm.
with those two questions, you can kind of
Yeah.
understand where that person is in their career path. And I can almost begin to kind of mold and create some mentorship around where what they don't like and what they are interested in doing, seeing where those gaps are with that individual, and then point them into some different career path and or options. And I'm so passionate about helping young people, young women, find those different career options,
Mm,
because I know as a mammographer, you do experience the burnout.
yes.
So those are just the two main questions that I start with, and then I start to kind of work with that individual to figure out, what's your best career choice.
Yeah.
I do have a couple other things I'd like to share. When you're talking, if we could step back a little bit, when you're talking to technologists and what they need to do next. I mean, some of the things you also need to consider are what transferable skills do they have
Mm,
when they're trying to take the next steps. What gaps do they have? Are there additional trainings, certifications that they may need to make that leap into the next role? So
mm,
that's very, very important. Asking them about career growth opportunities. When they see a role, does that role offer any type of advancement? Are there leadership potential? Do they even want to be in leadership?
yes.
Um, so asking those type of questions
Yeah.
also are helpful. And then one of the big things I always ask, is understand what work life balance mean to you, because
Mm,
that's so valuable in no matter what career you're in. Even if you start to feel the burnout, because it's different for me or you. um,
yes.
so it's very important to understand that when you're considering moving to a different career.
Mm. I like that. I said a lot of imaging professionals who've had a career like you've had. I can only imagine it's because you've been amazing at what you did before, and a lot of times positions come open, doors open because of the relationships you have within the profession. And I say that a lot. If you show up the way you're supposed to show up and you build the relationships, there will be so many opportunities. But what I think one of the things I don't say, which you made me think of it, is but you have to have yourself prepared to walk through that door when it presents to you, right? And that's the considering what other certifications do you need to get? What other degrees do you need to get? So when that door presents itself, you can seamlessly walk through it, right? So it's not sitting around and waiting. It's anticipating what might that future be and then being proactive now, right? And I never really thought about that. Like I said, I talk so much about just doing what you're supposed to do and the doors will open, but you talk about the preparing yourself ahead of time.
Yes, I love that. I think that's so very valuable to think about. If you really are sincere about making career changes and choices, you really need to understand what is required for those other roles. And a lot
Mhm.
of times it's a secondary degree or certifications. So if
Yes.
you're interested in moving, you need to research, do your due diligence, do your research, and figure out what is necessary for
Mm.
me to move to the next role.
And Karen, I think you remind us too that it's important to lean in on that mentorship and that networking. We don't always realize how much guidance is available if we just reach out and tap into it. And it sounds like you've had that along your way as well.
Yes, mentorship is huge. And not only did I have mentorship, I provide mentorship because it's so important. Someone helped me in the past, and I want to repay that by helping
Yes.
young people realize there's so much more if you just lean into what lies ahead.
Mm, I love that. So I want to shift gears just for a second because I'm so interested in one of your positions. I know you currently serve as two positions at Siemens, but the Key Opinion Leader Manager for North American Women's Health Business. What is that?
That's great. That's a mouthful. When people ask me my title and I tell them that, it's always a mouthful. But the key opinion leader position at Siemens, what that really means in a small package is I focus on building and managing relationships with influential experts in the field of mammography to help
Mm,
shape the innovation at Siemens, to provide collaborations between Siemens and the partner hospitals or facilities, and then also excelling in the clinical excellence in the breast imaging space. So all of
wow.
that packaged in a bow, you're
Yes.
really working with individuals that look for breast cancer, diagnose breast cancer, because they're the leaders in that field, but we want to collaborate or walk alongside of them to help shape innovation that Siemens does.
What an interesting job, right?
Yeah.
And this, I think, is at the heart of why it is so amazing to talk with you because there are so many positions out there that our technologists and therapists have never heard of, have no idea, and important work. I mean, how significantly important is your job in patient care and healthcare and the future of mammography and diagnosis? And it's very, very cool.
It is. There are a lot of opportunities, and Siemens is a fantastic company, and we are really proud at all of the innovation and collaborations that we do in the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just so much more outside of that clinical space if you are willing to take that chance and look.
The fact that we have you on telling technologists and therapists, go look for these jobs. Like, you don't have to have someone come in and say, "Hey, we think you'd be good as a trainer." You can be seeking these and preparing
Yeah.
yourself for those. I think it's an exciting
Yeah.
time.
It is.
Well, Karen, you've certainly inspired me. I'm going to look at my career pathway now too and
Uh,
see
uh,
what.
no, you're
I'm just
not.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No, he's not.
Yeah, that's very inspirational. Thank you for sharing that. And I really love the points that you touched on about making connections. I think that's very vital at any stage in your career.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to let you know that we have Dr. Hansen. Dr. Hansen started his radiology journey as a student in the School of Radiologic Technology at the Mallinckrodt Institute of Radiology in St. Louis. He worked many years as a technologist and also a department manager in St. Louis and New Orleans. He joined GE Healthcare as a CT application specialist and transitioned into marketing and product development. Now, as a second career, Dr. Hansen embarked upon attending the St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine in Grenada, West Indies. After earning his D.V.M., he completed a 1-year medical and surgical internship in Chicago and a 4-year residency at the University of Missouri. Presently, Dr. Hansen is a professor of radiology and course director at the St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine, and he's even the owner of Hansen Imaging LLC, a veterinary teleradiology service.
It's not every day you hear someone who's bridged radiology and veterinary care, so this is going to be interesting.
Let's start at the beginning, Dr. Hansen. Sort of what drew you to radiography, and what did those early days in human healthcare look like for you?
So back in my high school days, I happened to be working at Barnes Hospital, where Mallinckrodt Institute is located, in the film
Yeah.
library. So I
Oh,
was a film librarian on weekends and holidays. So, everybody in the digital world now doesn't realize that we had film librarians, people to go find the old cases so they could be compared to the recent study. So that was our job.
yes.
And I kind of knew about the program because my older brother was attending the RT program. And, talking to my older brother, he's like, well, why don't you do the tech program? It's free. And I know students today, they like freak out when you say it was a free on the job
Mm.
training program sponsored
Yes.
by Washington University. So I went, loved it, and stuck with it ever since.
So, at what point did you start thinking about making that jump to veterinary medicine? And was there a moment or experience that really sparked that shift?
Not really being challenged. And, maybe I want to do more. I don't know if I could do MD, but I always wanted to do vet med. So it's like, I'm going to find out
Yeah.
what it takes to do that. And that was a whole huge challenge in itself to do all the prerequisite work to even get accepted into vet school. But yeah, it was
Right.
just kind of, I felt like I needed a bigger challenge, and that's what I took on.
So, obviously, it gave you a head start, your radiography background, it sounds
Absolutely, yeah,
like.
to a certain extent. Um, but again, being trained as an RT and also then secondarily going on and finishing a bachelor's degree in management, I didn't have the
Mm.
science background for vet school.
Oh,
Okay.
So the challenge was to find the courses that I could take in the evening because it's like, well, I can't give up working
Mm,
and
yes.
go to school full time when you're. So I started vet school when I was 57 years old.
wow.
So at
That
the
is
time,
excellent.
pretty well established career. It's like, well, I can't give up the income and do all these courses. Anyways, I did find evening courses at the local universities here in the Milwaukee area, and spent about 2 3 years doing all my prereqs and getting all the
Mm.
sciences out of the way, and finding an OChem
Yes.
course and finding an OChem lab, and then finally applying. And even applying was about a 3 year process to
Mm,
finally get accepted somewhere. So
yeah.
Wow. So I'm curious, what were some of the biggest adjustments that you had to make going from human to animal with veterinary radiography?
there's a lot of similarities, which is really nice. KV is KV and mass is mass, so that was
True.
great. Vet med has mostly made the jump to digital, so that is very
Uh-huh.
nice too. Positioning is different. Positioning is a little challenging,
Yeah.
but it's a lot like dealing with pediatrics.
Mm.
Our
Yeah.
patients can't tell us what hurts. They can't tell us that,
Yeah.
don't do that to me. They'll try and nip at you if you try and do something they don't like. But positioning is challenging, and the positioning planes are named differently in the quadruped species than in the biped species. So that's always a little challenging. But my background as an RT helped tremendously with that.
So, what does a typical day look like for you now, combining both your radiography and veterinary experience?
Oh, well, it's my days have recently changed. So for the past 5 years, I returned to St. George's to
Mm.
run the radiology program for teaching the vet students the ins and
Yes.
outs of veterinary radiography. Right now, I've returned to clinical work. So
Mm.
clinically, I'm serving 3 specialty hospitals. So in
Mm,
Wow.
veterinary medicine, there are about 25 recognized specialties, radiology being one, but just like human medicine, we have internal medicine, dermatology, oncology,
mm,
surgery, the
wow.
whole gamut.
Mhm.
And so I'm at a specialty center where several of those specialties are offered as well as emergency service. So my day now is reading cases for the emergency service, doing ultrasounds and
Yes.
CTs. We do at one facility also have an MRI. So um, I get to practice just about everything, almost like human radiologist. We can get pretty busy too. I'm a one man show, so it keeps me busy
Mm.
over 3 hospitals.
Wow. I was going to ask you that, what different modalities are included in your practice. But you said CT, MR, ultrasound, X ray. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, another question, can you share maybe a particularly memorable case that imaging played a critical role when you were able to take care of or save an animal?
I would say that daily radiology can save a patient from surgery where we can, or
Mm.
I can say that on radiographs and ultrasound, the dog is not obstructed. The cat didn't eat anything. It's not vomiting because it has a foreign body. So I think that's
Right.
one of the big ones. Or using RADs going, yes, the dog ate the sock, but it's in the colon. So if we just wait it out, it'll take care of
Yes.
itself. So I think that's always great. But imaging, I think, plays a huge part in actually pinpointing what the problem is and saying,
Mm,
here's what we need to go fix. So
yeah.
especially with advanced imaging nowadays, it's just tremendous to be able to do ultrasound and CT.
Well, the work that you do is so important. I've always had animals growing up. And I guess I would like for you to tell our listeners and our viewers sort of where the passion comes from and maybe talk to them about the purpose and what you like most about your job.
The passion, I guess, came from just as being a little kid and, loving the neighbor dogs, wanting to have our own
Yeah.
dog, which we eventually got. And just thinking that's the greatest thing. And, at some point going, wouldn't it be great to spend your entire time with animals? And then for me, I think I'm just very lucky to be able to do that bridge to go from
Mhm.
human radiology or just, radiography to radiologist in the vet world. And,
Yes.
continue, I think, kind of like two real passions there, which is
Mm.
radiography and having a love for animals and taking care of animals and providing that service.
Wow.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners or our viewers about your pathway or maybe to motivate them to take that chance?
So I think because since we're talking about like alternative careers and
Yes.
what has happened to me, and people always ask me along the way, it's like, well, what would you tell people today? Some
Yes.
person starting an RT program or BSRT program somewhere. I tell first of all is like believe in yourself, no matter
Mm.
what anybody else says. If it's deep inside you where it's like, this is what I need to do, then go do it. And you will find a way to do it. So there's going to be
Yes.
roadblocks. It's not going to be a straight line. Look at my career. There's nothing straight line about it. If you want to do it, you can do it. Find a way to do it. Never say never.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It's
My
been
pleasure.
exciting to hear about your career and inspiring, so never say never.
Never say never.
Exactly.
I love that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I am so excited to continue our series on sort of interesting occupations in medical imaging and radiation therapy. And today on the show, we are thrilled to welcome someone who's had an incredible journey through the world of sports medicine and athletic care. Our guest, Paul Kacprzak. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Yes, Paul Kacprzak has spent the last 2 years working alongside some of the most recognized orthopedic specialists in the country at the Baptist Health Orthopedic Institute in South Florida. This team isn't just any team. They care for professional, collegiate, and amateur athletes and are internationally known for their work. In partnership with the Miami Dolphins, they've helped establish a cutting-edge training complex and medical facility, blending elite performance with world-class care. So while he was invited to cover every Dolphins home game, he made the thoughtful decision to keep his time balanced, continuing to care for a wide range of patients, including NFL players, as the season ramps up. Born in Poland and raised in the U.S. by a hardworking single mother, his strong work ethic was instilled early and has carried him through a long and rewarding career. He's been married since 1986 and has 2 sons, and is now looking ahead to retirement in the next few years, though, as he puts it, that timeline may depend on when the grandchildren start arriving. He's proud to be ending his career working with top-tier physicians and world-class athletes. And did we mention he has a Stanley Cup ring? Possibly even a second one on the way. Please join me in welcoming someone with deep experience, great stories, and a true passion for his work. Well, let's go back to the very beginning. So what got you into radiography?
Well, my wife and I relocated from New Jersey to Florida, and I was in consumer electronics, and I said, you know what, I got to find something I liked. And I knew people who were into healthcare. I said, but I have no idea what I'm interested in. But I said, being Polish, I've always been interested in Marie Curie. One day I opened up one of my books that I have, autobiographies of her, and it just fell open to the page of her in her radium cars during World War I. And I said, you know what? X-ray, that sounds pretty interesting. So then I contacted the local schools, got an idea of what tuition was and requirements. And then when I went to see the Broward Community College, the public school, Mr. Britt said, we want you to do a full day at a facility. We'll see exactly what you do to make sure that you like this, that you enjoy doing it.
Smart.
I always had an interest in photography. And I like taking care of people and having, I'm a nice guy. I said, maybe this everything will fit together.
Well, how then did you sort of make that transition and go to working with pro teams and athletes? How did that happen?
I eventually, in 2000, I worked for a private imaging center that was primarily MRI in Boca Raton. And I was doing very well there. We were like the first place to use Canon digital equipment. I worked with the engineers on doing something called IVPs, which they don't do today.
I loved IVPs.
So a couple of years in like 2006, we had salespeople, and one of the salespeople came by. He liked me a lot, and he said, "Paul, you really do a good job here. You really know what you're doing. And you take this stuff seriously." He says, "I have a neighbor where I live who is an assistant trainer with the Florida Panthers hockey team." The trainer calls me the next day, and then I speak to him, and he says, "Okay, come in and just see what you can do." Now this is like 2007 or so. So I did the images. I did them exactly the way they wanted them, and they said, "Please, we want you to work here." The thing about sports medicine is that there's two different approaches here. One, when you're in a facility like the Panthers arena, and a player gets injured, the doctor has to immediately, as fast as possible, determine what injury and can they go back on the ice, or do we have to do something else? We primarily get hand, wrist injury, shoulder injuries from going to the boards and crashing on the ice, and feet and ankle injuries, and also knee injuries because you get hit with pucks, and that hurts. Now they can know what's the player going to do. So if we got a serious injury, do they need to get a CAT scan the next day? Do they need to get an MRI for a soft tissue injury? The players want to play. They want to go back on the ice. You'd be shocked at how many players got a broken finger, and they still go back on the ice. To me, this is a pinnacle of your career to be able to end it like this.
Yes.
Where you're with the top doctors, you're with top athletes, you're in a top facility. And as I tell people, I didn't apply to work there. I was drafted.
Right.
Like a player.
I love that.
The doctor said, "Paul," I said, "Well, what about my," they go, "Paul, don't worry, you're hired. Don't worry about the interview. You're hired." And these are the people who are in charge of all this stuff that I worked with for the Panthers for years. So it's been a lot of fun. I love what I do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a really exciting career. What additional advice would you give someone who's in imaging who might be interested in getting into sort of the sports career?
Well, what you do is you're going to have cities that have major league and minor league teams. And what you do is you contact them, with the resume and a letter of introduction. You want to contact the trainers, the person who's the head trainer on the team, because that's the person who has to ultimately work with the doctors and ownership, management, and the players on getting players taken care of.
Well, what a career, Paul, from caring to everyday patients to supporting championship teams, which has actually led to you earning a Stanley Cup ring. So as we close, can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, this is, I was absolutely floored. So I went up there, they fitted it to me. This has the name spelled out in diamonds, the insignia. It's got laser engraved inside. They have the results of all the 4 games they won and the final scores.
Well, I'll tell you, I am jealous that we are not going to work with you tomorrow morning because I do love sports. And it sounds like You've had an absolutely amazing career and so much excitement. We'll be right back after this short message.
National Radiologic Technology Week is coming up November 2nd through the 8th. It's the perfect time to recognize and celebrate the incredible work of radiologic technologists who play a crucial role in patient care and safety every day. Whether you're planning a celebration or just want to say thanks, head over to ASRT.org/NRTW for everything you need: official merchandise, downloadable templates, and creative ideas to make the week special.
Wow, those were great interviews.
Yeah, so cool.
Very insightful. I learned a lot. Did you learn a lot?
I did learn a lot. I learned that I need to go join a sports team and be a radiographer.
Yeah, and maybe end up with a ring.
Oh my gosh, how cool would that be?
Yeah. Well, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
Now it's time to transition to our We See You segment.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Melissa. Love the podcast. My name is Christina Birch. I'm a radiation therapist from Colorado. My question is, how is the ASRT working with educational institutions to ensure technologists are prepared for emerging modalities and roles?
What a great question, and an important question, right? Because technology is ever changing. So one of the things our members might not know is that, of course, we hold the curricula for all of the modalities, and we revise them on a regular schedule. And we also make sure that we're being futurists to see what might be coming. And what we'll do when we go through curriculum revision is we'll actually add things that are not necessarily on the registry yet. And sometimes they'll be optional, but then as they're moving towards things that will become part of what we do and maybe even move into the registry exams, then they become required on the curricula.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, is that we do partner with accrediting bodies to make sure that those competencies do reflect what's needed in our practice.
Yeah. I think a good example of that is AI.
Yeah.
So AI has been put in our curricula as alternative, but it's moving towards required, right? Because it's something that we're seeing that's coming into our profession. Yep. And we also have on our amazing education products, many of our products have institution versions. Yes. So with the institutional version, the education programs can purchase those and use them in their curriculum as well. Another thing is that ASRT is forging new relationships with corporate partners, and we're working on some exciting things to offer new education. I think that's important. We have our corporate roundtable and the partners that come together in sort of a safe environment where they can talk about new technology. And the fact that we bring them together and we're at the table with them, it gives us the opportunity to sort of see what's coming. Yeah. And as I said, it's kind of exciting. It's kind of a preview to what's coming, but we're partnering with some of them and starting to talk about partnering on creating education for some of this new technology.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to learn more, please visit asrt.org/store and navigate to the educational programs. You'll see for educators, for students, as well as image libraries and test banks.
And now it's time for some updates. Don't put yourself in a bad position.
Stay up to date with the RAD Position. The ASRT is promoting awareness one step at a time. On November 8th, the RAD-5K is being held to recognize the vital role that medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals play in healthcare. We invite you to run and walk with us to celebrate the important work of these healthcare heroes. This family-friendly event offers in-person and virtual participation options, so you can join us in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or wherever you are. Visit asrt.org/rad- to learn more and sign up today.
Well, this was fun having 3 different guests and so many takeaways. I think so many things I think about. One thing with Dr. Hansen is he talked to us a little bit after. I wanted to make sure that our listeners and viewers hear. He said if you're interested in being an imager in veterinary medicine, that you should look for veterinary specialty hospitals in your area. And I thought it was really interesting that he said many of them are looking for CT and MR technologists.
Yes, he did. And with Paul, I think we learned that, your skills can definitely translate and open up a whole new world to many diverse opportunities based on the skill set that you had. I mean, I never thought I'd be hosting a podcast with you. So
That's true. That's true. And then I guess if we think about Karen, that kind of sums it all up. There's so many different pathways that her career has taken. And I think that's one of the things that's so amazing about medical imaging and radiation therapy is that if you ask any technologist or therapist that's been in the profession for a number of years, so many different doorways that open.
Well, thank you all for listening and watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.
Yes.
You can also email us at radposition@asrt.org. We would love to hear your stories.
Yeah, or fill out the form at asrt.org/radposition.
And to all our medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals, be seen
And stay rad.